What's up, everybody? I'm Xavior Spade, and we need to talk. I've been exposed. Let's just go. So sorry guys, just excuse the appearance. I've been a little sick, but I've been coping with it. But I really wanted to talk about this, mostly because I'm tired. I'm just tired of the bullshit. I'm really tired. The big topic of conversation always seems to be exposure and magic. Now, I just want to make a few things clear before I continue on with the conversation so that none of the conversation will have to do with these specific things. Number one, I do not condone the theft of magic. Meaning, if I market something and somebody else releases it, and I speak with them privately and they continue to sell it even though it's mine, I consider that theft. Mind you, I said speak about it privately. You know, things can be made on your own, and sometimes you don't realize that it's been created by somebody else, and it's a very easy thing to just take it down and move on with your life. You know, you make an apology, you say you're sorry, maybe you work together on it. You know, there's different ways to handle it. Number two, there are some things that I will not teach or talk about or expose online. That's just my personal preference. There's no rule book, and that's something to keep in mind. There's no rule book for any of this. It's really up to discretion. And that's it. Just those two things. Okay? Just those two things. So the entire conversation is going to be about exposure and magic, what it is, what it means, where it's going, is it good or bad, and the outcome of those things that I think. It's my personal discussion. It's my personal rant. If you have differences of opinions, please put that in the comments below. Maybe start a discussion about it. But that doesn't mean that you should hate me for mine and I should hate you for yours. I'm just going to lay out some facts and some of my opinion. Okay? So let's start that right now. So when I was younger, I was doing a lot of dumb stuff. And somebody showed me a trick. Did they teach it to me? Yes. Did I pay for it? No. So in essence, I was exposed to magic that very moment when he was willing to, one, show it to me, and then two, teach it to me so that I could learn it and maybe learn more. So I was exposed to magic originally by that person whose name is Danny, and he actually lives out in LA now, and he's been in a few of my vlogs, and he's taken some of my photos. He's an amazing photographer. You need to check him out. Here's his Instagram right around here. Go check him out. But that being the case, he exposed me to something that changed my life. The minute that I realized it happened, it was already past that moment. But I know now that if he didn't expose me to it, I might be dead today. I might not be around because of the things that I was involved in. Him exposing magic to me saved my life, truly. And for that, Danny, I will eternally be thankful. And thank you. He eventually brought me to a magic shop. And in that magic shop, I didn't have a lot of money to spend on magic. So I would do things in kind, and the owner would let me play with things. He would let me watch things. He would let me read. And sometimes he would give me tricks. He exposed me to more magic than Danny could have in the beginning. He was willing to expose that to me, and that helped me grow more. And as time went on, I started to kind of repay that. So people would come into the shop and I would show them stuff, and then they would come back again and I'd keep showing them and keep showing them. And some of them became great magicians. Some of them went on to other things, opened companies. But we shared moments together. And because I was willing to expose magic to them, they were exposed to something that they didn't have before. And I know for a fact some of them were doing things similar to what I was doing, and magic helped them get out of that. So the exposure of magic to them may have helped their lives. I think it has. You know, some of them moved on to other things. Magic wasn't for them, and that's okay. But they had the opportunity to try, and I think that's important. Years went by, and actually two of my students, my old students, started a magic company. And I had already worked with magic companies, and, you know, I knew how magic companies worked. And magic companies try to expose their company, because that's what it is, a company. It's not a magic shop, it's a company. They try to expose their products to as many people as they can using social media, YouTube, Facebook, email lists, all these things. And they don't like scan people. They don't ask them questions and say, well, if you want to buy this, then what is the answer to this? The only requirement is that they have a working credit card. So the difference between a magic company exposing and selling is literally a penny, and that makes it okay. The thing is, they also give away free magic. Murphy's Magic gives away 5 free chicks if you give them an email. And for a while, me and Eric Jones were talking about this, and he said, no, they don't. And I showed him the YouTube page where Gregory Wilson is outwardly saying, give us your email and I will teach you 5 free magic tricks. Now, the tricks that they're showing, if you're a seasoned magician, may not be for you. If you're a professional working magician, these things aren't that. These are entry level, I've never done magic before tricks. They're trying to get people exposed to magic so they'll buy more or become magicians. Personally, because it's a business, I think it's more about the money. You know, it's okay for magic companies to give away magic. It was okay for Penn and Teller to expose people to magic and have a magic kit. It was okay for, Blackstone to give away magic in a cereal, and on some of the magic TV shows they teach tricks. They're exposing methods, one-ahead principle, mathematical principles, using a napkin to lap a fork, or the idea of a hidden hand like the zombie knife. They're exposing these methods on there to get something in return. It may not be an immediate return. It might be ratings. It could be a sale. It could be them coming back, whatever it is. They're doing it. And nobody ever complains about that. Nobody ever complains about Blackstone, about Penn and Teller. Wrong. People have complained about Penn and Teller. But they don't complain about the magic shows. They don't complain about Murphy's Magic. They don't complain about Illusionists giving away free stuff. They don't complain about my company, Lost Art, giving away free things. They only care when I'm doing it for free. They only care when I'm doing it and I don't ask you for anything. But nobody cared when the magic shops do it, when the conventions do it. Because, at a magic club, at a magic shop, at a convention, at a lecture, nobody screens anybody for magic. You don't have to know magic, you just have to pay. If I'm hanging out with a bunch of people and I want to show somebody a trick, I could show them and I don't have to ask them if they're a magician. I could just show them, and if they get into it, they'll get into it, and then they can become a magician. But if they didn't have that exposure, would they have ever? And I think the biggest proponent of this idea is the Magic Club. Magic clubs are the ones that fight the battle the most, that magic should not be exposed. The secrets of magic should not be exposed. But what they're forgetting is that every one of them is a member of that club because somebody was willing to give up the secret. Because in all actuality, there are no more secrets in magic. It's all for sale. Every single bit of it. Whether you're selling it for $1, whether you're selling it for a view, whether you're selling it to get people in those seats for a future product, for a push, it's all for a sale. Every single part of it. And that's the truth. That's a fact. But magic clubs are dying. Magic club membership is at an all-time low. And the reason why is because they're not keeping up with the times. The tide of the world has changed. The way we do business, the way we market has changed, but magic clubs haven't. They sit there and they stick to their guns and they say, we will not blah, 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 blah. We do not like blah, 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 blah. But the people that they bring in do all those things. The people that they look up to do all those things now. If you're a working magician, you want to do college shows, there are certain things you need. If you want to be a professional trade show magician, there are certain things you need. There are certain things you need to do, the ways to get out there. If you want to work in television and consulting, the enemy, there are certain things you have to do. And it's funny to me because a lot of my good friends are consultants, guys like Daniel Garcia and Marcus Eddy and Garrett Thomas and Ossie and all these guys. All these guys are consultants. And they sit there and they lecture for the people who say magic on TV is bad. They create the magic that's on TV. But when they lecture, nobody in those clubs have the balls to tell them to their face that magic on TV is bad. They sit there and they go, that was a great show, Danny. It's so amazing to see you work on that with this person. Oh, working with Blaine must be great. Blah, blah, blah. Garrett Thomas, you're so good. I love what you did on blah, 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 blah. But they won't tell them what they talk about in the clubs. They won't tell them what they tell the young guys who are trying to get up. They won't tell them what they feel. They won't have the discussion face to face. Instead, they jump online. They jump online and they try to rally people up for a stupid, useless fight. They go to Facebook. They go to Twitter. Instead of talking to people, they sit there and they say magic is for the real world. Magic is to be done one-on-one, live, all this stuff. But they won't handle problems and discussions that way. They won't handle it live. They won't handle it one-on-one. They'll bring it online. They'll bring it to the source of their anger. And then say, that person did bad, and I want everybody to share this around. They gather groups together. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. Josh J wrote a book, and that book was in Barnes & Nobles, and it's still on Amazon. It's a public book that has really, really good magic. He exposed hundreds of thousands of people to really great magic, but nobody's bashing him. But I think there was a book called 𝗦𝗧𝗥𝗢𝗪, one of those, Book of Magic, that I've heard many people say I started with. But that's okay. That's cool. Dummy's Guide to Magic. That's okay. That's cool. Magic kits. Phantasma. Penn and Teller have a magic kit. I'm pretty sure Copperfield had a magic kit. Amazing Jonathan had a magic kit. There are magicians that I know that make their own magic kits, and that's okay. You can expose people to that, but don't expose them to what you like. That's the problem. That's the problem. We're going to die. All of us. And to have the sheer selfishness to say you cannot share what you love with somebody because I don't want you to is ridiculous. When I die, I want magic to get better. I want people to be able to share what they love with other people the way I've been able to share what I love with people in different ways. Some people I just share the effect. Some people I share the method and the teaching and the moments where we discover together. Because I learn when I teach. And for anybody who teaches, they know that for a fact too. Part of being a teacher is being a great learner and understanding that you don't know everything. And sometimes those students will come up with something, or they'll say something, or they'll do something that will spark this idea. And it's a pure moment. But if you're not willing to share, that won't happen. There are no secrets in magic. All of it is for sale. The question is, what is your price? What is the price that you're going to expose magic for? Exposure isn't bad. Exposure of magic is not a bad thing. What is a bad thing is huddling and being selfish and keeping it for ourselves and not sharing it and not growing and not getting better and not improving anything because we want it here and only us. The ego takes over. That's when it falls apart. That's what's happening to magic clubs. That's why they're dying, because magic clubs don't need to charge. I don't need to pay a fee every month to go talk about magic. I can call up a few friends, we go meet up. Or there's a place where people meet up every week, I go down there. Or there's a youth Facebook group, or there's an Instagram group, or there's a Google Hangout, or there's a Skype call, or there's a Tiny Chat. And some of those things I've been a part of. Some of those things allowed me to meet some of the best friends that I have today. Because they were there. Because at the time I didn't have the money or the means to get to a club and pay and then be belittled and told that everything I do is bad because the old greats did it this way and you can't make anything better because they didn't do it that way. I'm here because I wasn't a part of that. I was a part of something different. And there are people who have contacted me, young and older, that understand that as well. A lot of time when I lecture, I talk about things in my life and some of the roads that I take. And if it wasn't for the exposure of magic in my life, I would be dead. But magic saved me. Being able to do magic and perform, it showed me something completely different. It showed me a way out. It showed me that I could care and not have to hurt people. It showed me all these different things. Without exposure, where would I be today? I don't know. But without exposure, where would magic be? Where would magic be if nobody exposed secrets? Who determines who is righteous enough to learn magic? What are the requirements to be that righteous, to earn that privilege that somebody will bestow a trick on you to learn a double lift? Why is the magic community that I'm talking about so selfish? Why are they so selfish? Everybody who has learned magic has learned because of exposure. And if it wasn't for that exposure, they wouldn't be doing magic. And that's the truth. And if you can't accept that, tough. But don't belittle people who are trying to do better, who are trying something else. Listen, I'm trying too. I'm trying. Chris Ramsey, Alex Pandrea, Assad, 52 cards, Daniel Madison. We're all trying. But we can't and we won't ever be perfect. So we try and we do something different, and we try again and we do something different. We don't just sit there and complain online and complain in Facebook and complain on Twitter and complain on the Magic Cafe. We're trying when nobody else is. We're trying to steer people the way we would steer them if they were in front of us. Exposure is not bad. Exposure changes everything, even if it's for one person. But just because I'm teaching somebody how to do a double lift does not mean everybody in the world will know a double lift either. I just want to leave it with this statement, okay? Anybody can learn to cook, but to become a chef requires a different skill set. It requires a level of understanding that most people will never achieve. And it's the same with magic. Anybody can do a trick. But to become a truly great magician, it requires a level of understanding that very few will ever be able to achieve. And just because you learn how to cut and how to cook, and just because I know how to do a trick and do a move doesn't make me a magician. Just like learning how to cut and learning how to heat something doesn't make me a chef. Tools are tools. I can paint, but that doesn't make me an artist. I can do all these things. But sometimes showing people that the tools are available and that the tools can be used means more to that person than what your ego says about who's righteous enough to learn what you love. There are no more secrets, and that's a fact. That's all I want to say. If you have any comments, please leave them down below. I have some links in the description. You can check them out if you want to. That's not what this is about. I just wanted to get these words out because it's really been bothering me, and I just couldn't keep it in anymore. I appreciate every single one of you. If you want to talk to me live, I've been streaming a lot lately on Twitch. The link is in the description below. If you like what I'm doing, hit that thumbs up, smash it. comment, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I appreciate your time. Peace out.